Hello dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. Now in this one I'm going to discuss where has the hype gone for Microsoft Flight Sim in general. There was a lot of hype with Flight Sim 2020. Just prior to its release, of course, and then when it released, at every stage near enough with Flight Sim 2020. There was hype. Certainly I felt it in our Discord and on different videos, just in general. With Flight Sim 2024, I mean, there's a lot of hype prior to its release. A lot of hype for that, with all the trailers and people looking forward to it. Since its release, there's been very little hype, I feel. And generally, I mean, I'm just taking our Discord as a gauge there. There just seems to be very little hype around Flight Sim 2024. Now, you've got to feel, with Flight Sim 2020, there are some major things happened. I mean, we had the Xbox release during the Flight Sim 2020 life. So, you know, the Xbox release, and there was a lot of hype about that, and then when it was released, a lot more hype got added on. You had the 40th anniversary time during Flight Sim 2020. So, 40th anniversary from Microsoft Flight Sim in general. Obviously, that can't happen again. The next one, in quite a few years' time, will be the 50th anniversary. There's things like that. I mean, the biggest hype that came with Flight Sim 2024 was the release of Sim Update 1 and not long after the Marketplace release. That was pretty much the biggest hype I felt with it, but it still paled in comparison to every sort of stage in Flight Sim 2020 when there was a new world update or new sim update with Flight Sim 2020. There was major hype for that. And of course, you know, let's face it, there's a few reasons behind this. Flight Sim 2020 Flight Sim 2024, let's get that right, so the current sim, which I'm flying in now, Flight Sim 2024, for all it brought, has always felt, even now, going on to near 6 months of release, as an incomplete sim. It's still not quite there. We recently got the Marketplace, and that's still not fully flushed out at the moment. We're waiting now for the full release of Sim Update 2. Hoping that that will bring it to, in effect, its full release. Isn't that a strange thing to behold? Still doesn't feel like a complete release of the sim, or the sim it should be. Hopefully when Sim Update 2 releases, which should be imminent at the time of recording this video, that's when hopefully it will feel like the complete sim it should have been. And I think, you know, with all the errors that came and all the issues that came with the release of Flight Sim 2024, it simply put a lot of people off the sim and dampened the hype generally for Microsoft Flight Sim. It's actually turned people away from Flight Sim, and people are still having issues with Flight Sim 2024. I mean, you can let us all know, I'm sure you will, down below in the comments what issues you're still having. You know, crashes, bad performance, controller binding issues, that's a big thing. I mean, Flight Sim 2020 wasn't perfect, but in comparison to Flight Sim 2024, a lot of people, I mean, I still have controller issues which irk me, and I think, oh, why can't they just make it as simple as Flight Sim 2020 was? And generally, for a lot of people, they're still getting bad performance with Flight Sim 2024. So will the tides turn with the release of Sim Update 2, and hopefully not long after that, with the majority of the launch, my goodness me, that's still strange things to say and behold, but with the majority of the launch issues resolved, will people trust Asobo anymore? Do people trust them now? In fact, what is the next big thing from Microsoft Flight Sim? Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, there needs to be something to get people hyped again. Get them back to the hype levels of Flight Sim 2020, if that is indeed possible. You gotta think Flight Sim 2020 transformed aviation flight sims, not just graphically, with the subsequent updates, just became and still possibly is the best aviation simulator. Now that's a debate that you can have in the comments there, but I believe it is still the best aviation simulator on the market. Flight Sim 2024, after it gets fixed, bizarre thing to say, but after it gets fixed, needs to get to that sort of level that Flight Sim 2020 brought with it, or brought generally as the updates came along. If indeed it's possible, what is the worst case scenario here? Well, people walk away from from Microsoft Flight Sim. A new sim comes on the market. I mean, X-Plane 12 has recently come, but a new aviation sim of that sort comes along. It happened before, people. It happened in the Microsoft Flight Sim X days. Now, granted, that was released over a long period. I think over 10 years before Flight Sim 2024 came along. It may even be 15 to 20 years. You know, people transferred to X-Plane. I did myself, for example. Worst case scenario is it dies a slow death, and typically that could just generally be the way things will go anyway. You know, sims generally have a shelf life, but that may happen. Hopefully not, but it may happen sooner than expected with Microsoft Flight Sim. I mean, you let me know about that down below in the comments. If there was now another major good-looking aviation sim come along, wouldn't people just migrate to that? Again, let me know in the comments. Let me just talk about my stance though. I've got hope. I mean, Flight Sim 2024, it is the better looking sim. I like the fact that, you know, we have a slightly different flight model with it as well, and it feels different and more challenging as well, somewhat more gritty, realistic. Yeah, but the look of it generally, I think this outshines Flight Sim 2020 in many areas, although like I said, Flight Sim 2020 is still possibly the best sim out there currently. So my stance on it is, I like it and I want to see this succeed. I'm still flying in Flight Sim 2024 by choice, Not just because I'm making videos, but by choice. I prefer Flight Sim 2024 at the moment. Generally, like I said, just because it looks... I generally fly a GA aircraft, and I just prefer the look and feel of Flight Sim 2024. There's a host of new peripherals. I mean, I did my Moser force feedback yoke recently, which I'll link down below in the description. Ton of new peripherals. Developers are still vying to get on board with Flight Sim 2024. There's hope for it. Hope does remain. And generally, even VR for me has never been better. I prefer VR in Flight Sim 2024 than Flight Sim 2020 at the moment. I generally get better performance, that type of thing. Listen, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Let us know in a constructive way, please, people, down below in the comments. What has happened to all the hype with Microsoft Flight Sim of late? Will it get better? Is there hope for Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Sim in general? Ideally hope. I mean, look at it. It can look absolutely outstanding, and you can get a heck of an experience. And they fixed things already, you know. I mean, there's not many players around here, but if there were, you can see players, and players far out. Can we spot any? I spot someone before. I just don't think... Oh, there's a chap behind me. There we go. There's just not many people flying around the sort of Sugarloaf Mountain real region at the moment, but if there was, we'd be able to see them. That's getting better. Multiplayer generally, I've done a few multiplayer flights in Flight Sim 2024, having good success with that. Listen, it's over to you. Let us all know down in the comments. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon.